Fantastic. Thank you very much, Cass. And again, welcome everyone to this presentation. In the next 15 minutes, I will take you on a Google Earth virtual tour of one of the Inca's masterpieces, Machu Picchu. Now, of course, Machu Picchu is located in Peru. Peru is one of the most visited countries in South America. And initially, you might want to go there just to see Machu Picchu. But I'm pretty confident that at the end of your tour of Peru, you will actually find a lot more highlights than just Machu Picchu. So I implore you, if you haven't yet, to make your way to Peru. Hold on to your seats. We're going right into the Andes region of Peru. 1, 2, 3, ready? Here we go.
Here we go. This is exciting.
Okay, here we are in the mountain region of Peru, and before we delve into Machu Picchu, I want to point out a few towns and a few destinations, and I'll throw in a few dates. I won't bombard you with dates, but I want to give you a few just to give you an idea, just give you some perspective. Here in the south, you can see the town of Cusco. I've just highlighted it now. Cusco is a very important town now, very visited town now. No trip to Peru is completed without Cusco, and you will go via Cusco to make your way to Machu Picchu. It's important today, but it was even more important back in the Inca's day. Cusco was the capital city of the Inca Empire. Cusco in Quechua, the language of the Incas, means belly button. So Cusco was the belly button of the empire, and from there they expanded north, south, east, and west. Now, again, not many dates I'll throw you away, but let me tell you that in the 1100s and 1200s AC, the Incas moved into this Cusco region, and they lived pretty happily there, working the land, being themselves, yada yada yada. It wasn't until the 1435 when the great Pachacutec Inca came to power, and under his regime, really the flourishing of the Inca Empire took place. It was Pachacutec himself, around the 1430s, that ordered the construction of Machu Picchu. Why? Well, nowadays we believe that he just wanted to build a royal state, a royal retreat, a holiday house. I mean, if you're an Inca and if you're an Inca emperor, why would you build a holiday house when you can build your own citadel? So he ordered the construction of Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu is here on this little spot up in the north. It's called where you can read Aguas Calientes. It's only 80 kilometers north. Building Machu Picchu took about 30 years, which is quite impressive. I mean, they built that thing in 30 years. I've been living in my house for 10 years, and I haven't got around laying the crushed granite in my backyard. So they built the whole thing in 30 years. Keep that in mind. The next town I want to point out is Ollantaytambo, a beautiful town as well, amazing archaeological site. I won't talk too much about it, but you will get to Ollantaytambo, and from Ollantaytambo you will either take a train all the way to Aguas Calientes for about 2.5 hours, or walk for 4 days, the classic Inca Trail, all the way to Machu Picchu. All right, let's take a closer look. We're getting a little bit closer to Machu Picchu itself. All right, I've got this view here. I mentioned before, okay, sorry, drag you back. I mentioned before that you could take the train to visit Machu Picchu. If you take the train, you will land in this town called Aguas Calientes. From here, you take a bus, a 30-minute bus ride all the way up, on this winding road, all the way up to Machu Picchu. If you are the active type and you decided to walk, you will land. Your first view of Machu Picchu will be the Intipunco here, the Puerta del Sol. This is one of the most emblematic views of Machu Picchu. Let me show you a photo of it.
Yes, very famous, isn't it?
That's right. That's a famous view. Now, whether you've taken the train and then the bus up to Machu Picchu, or whether you hike the 4-day Inca Trail, you can always, time permitting, you can always hike back to this point and enjoy this view of Machu Picchu. Let me take you back to the presentation. Let's get a little bit closer to Machu Picchu itself. Here we go. On this view, I wanted to show you the different sectors within Machu Picchu. The first sector is the one here that I'm pointing at now. It's the agricultural sector of Machu Picchu. Then we got the residential section of Machu Picchu, and then we got the more important, the main palaces in Machu Picchu. I'm going to take you on a tour, starting on the agricultural section, going through the urban section, and finishing at the temples there at the back. Okay, are you
How big
ready?
is that space, do you think, Martin? How big would
Sorry?
that how much space does all of those areas of the citadel take up?
Oh, it's huge. I
Big,
don't know
isn't
the
it?
square meters by heart,
Yeah.
but it's huge. You will see now. Oh, are you ready? Oh, I love this Google thing. It's fantastic. Welcome to Machu Picchu. Let's take a moment to take a look around this beautiful setting, this incredible archaeological site, magnificent Andes on the back. Nothing really prepares you for the first time that you are standing in front of Machu Picchu. You will see millions of photos, you will see lots of presentations before you get there, but once you are there, it's absolutely amazing. It's an incredible experience. Now, I wanted to land here to explain a couple of things about Machu Picchu. What you see there at the back is the House of the Guardians. Now, architectonically, not very important, not very impressive. It's just very simple constructions. They were meant to be for the gardens. This is one of the main entrances to Machu Picchu. So the gardens would just live there and keep an eye on the valley below and Machu Picchu. The next thing I wanted to show you on this image is the terracing work that the Incas did here in Machu Picchu and throughout Peru. You will see terraces like this throughout Peru. These terraces have a dual purpose. The first purpose and the most important one, particularly in Machu Picchu, is to retain the soil and to stop erosion. Machu Picchu is in a cloud forest. We get up to 2,000 millimeters of rain per year. So if they didn't build this terraces system, a landslide would simply take the entire citadel down to the bottom of the valley in no time. So the Incas started building Machu Picchu from the bottom up. They started building these platforms first, these terraces first, and then they went on to build the buildings and the structures on top of it. And these platforms are impressive enough from outside. I mean, what you see there, it's like, wow, look at those retention walls. But it's not until you dig into those terraces that you really get a better understanding of the magnitude of the work the Incas did in this mountain. Each of these terraces has a layer of fertile soil on the top. Underneath, there's a layer of sand, and underneath, there's a thicker layer of rocks and gravel. That allows the rain to fall onto the terraces and to drain right down to the core of the mountain. And from there, the water will be distributed out by a series of channels and aqueducts. It's believed that as much as 60% of the work of Machu Picchu was actually done underground. And what we see, the buildings and everything on top, is just 40% of Machu Picchu itself. Absolutely, absolutely amazing. Now, we've got a lot of walking and a lot of exploring to do, so let's keep going to the next slide. Oh, hello, llama. It's a llama or a llama. The llamas, vicuñas, and alpacas are three types of camelids that live in the Andes. They were extensively used by the Incas for the wool, for the meat, and for transport as well. Nowadays, you will see them all around Machu Picchu. They are merely lawn mowers, really. They just make sure that the lawn is kept nice and short, almost to Australian standards.
Well, they're doing a very good job by the looks of it.
They're amazing, very photogenic. Now, Peru is in a very seismic area. A lot of earthquakes have flattened modern cities in Peru and in South America in the past. But Machu Picchu and the buildings here are still standing. And this is thanks to one of the techniques that the Incas used to build the buildings. They were absolutely 100% aware of earthquakes and what it meant and how they needed to build the constructions. And you can see it on this presentation here. If you look at my cursor, you can see the slight inclination of the buildings. Yeah, they're all slightly leaning inwards. You can see it on these platforms, and if I span around, you can also see it this wall. Hopefully, you can see better on this wall. Slightly
Not completely
indent.
straight, slightly. Yeah, I can see that. That's
Exactly right.
amazing.
Yeah, and that meant that the structures were leaning against each other, and that in case of an earthquake, they move and they support the way of each other. That, together with the thickness of the walls, if you look at one of these windows, you can see the thickness of these walls. And this is a pretty ordinary wall. There's nothing special about it. It's not a very sacred place, but they still look at the work that they put behind building just this wall. All right, next. Where are we? Okay, yes, all right, very important. Look, before they even started building Machu Picchu, they had to take they had to plan a few elements. One of them was the availability of water, constant water, clean drinkable water throughout the year. And yes, we are in a cloud forest, and there's a lot of water coming from the sky in form of rain, but that's not enough. The whole hydraulic system that the Incas used to distribute water around Machu Picchu is incredible, and you can spend hours just talking about that. But just briefly, let me say that 800 meters north of Machu Picchu, there's a system of spring water. The Incas took the water from that spring system, they channel it on a channel made by rock, which still stands and it still functions even today, 500 years later, and they take the water into the citadel. Once inside the citadel, they transport the water throughout the entire citadel on a system of channels and fountains like the ones you see here. There are 14 fountains scattered around Machu Picchu. So a very, very ingenious way to supply drinkable water to the whole Machu Picchu. Next slide is stone, just a rock. Let me turn around. What do we got here? Oh, yes, that's
Good,
better.
Rob, thank you. That was good.
That's better. This is the temple of the condor. The condor, if you haven't been to South America, if you haven't been to Peru, the condor is a huge bird that lives in the Andes in South America, and it was a very important bird for the Incas. The Incas believed in three worlds: the underworld, the world of the dead, which is represented by a snake; the world of the living, the current world, which is represented by a puma; and the upper world, the world of the gods, which is represented by, surprise, surprise, the condor. That's right. So this temple was dedicated to the condor, to the upper gods. What you see here is the head. This stone here is the head of the condor. This is the peak, and this is a white color, a very distinctive white color that the male condor has. Mm-hmm. If we can move a little bit to the right, it's a fair bit of people here. Excuse me, we're coming through. Move. Hey, who touched my bum? Sorry. Sorry, quarantine is driving me crazy. All right, so this is a three-dimensional temple. This is the head, once again, of the condor, and here you can see what represented the wings of the condor. Behind this temple, there's a jail system. So there was a number of cages, and it's a maze of dungeons where the prisoners were kept. Story tells for up to 3 days before the fate was decided. Now, what could lay you in jail back on those days? Stealing, surprise, surprise, and laziness. If you were lazy, boom, off you go to jail. In an empire that achieved so much in such a little time, laziness was not allowed. It's simply not an option. So there you go, Temple of the Condor. Let me take you to the next temple. Where are we? Boom. Okay, Temple of the Sun. I mentioned before that they took careful consideration of the water situation before they built Machu Picchu. Now, the Incas were incredible astronomers. They had a really good understanding of the sun, and they based the solar calendar, or the agricultural system, was based around the solar calendar. This is the Temple of the Sun, the main Inca god. What you see here is a rock, and on top of that rock was turned into a table, a sacrifice table. Now, why is this important? On the 21st of June each year, the sun rises from the top of the mountains and shines right through this trapezoidal window straight onto this stone. that marked the solstice to the Incas. Yes, that's the shortest day of the year. It's a very important event. There would have been huge ceremonies back at the time, and even today, the 21st of June, the Inti Raimi, it's still celebrated in Cusco and worthwhile if you can pay the visit. So again, a very important temple, the Temple of the Sun. Let's go to the next slide. Where are we? Okay, we are precisely underneath the Temple of the Sun. If we look up, I hope I'm not making you dizzy with this, but if you look up, that is that trapezoidal window that we were looking at before. So right underneath it is one of the structures that I like the most. This is the royal tomb. The royal tomb. This is a mausoleum where they would have come to put to rest the bodies of the nobles, Inca nobles, the highest priest, or even the Inca himself. Again, let me see if I can move, squeeze in a little bit, and see if we can take a better look inside. Okay, yes, that's a slightly better. You can there see inside this mausoleum is a beautiful work on stone. They carved one piece of stone. Again, remember that the Incas built everything that we're seeing using nothing but stones. They had no metals, they had no wheel. So everything they carved, everything they did it working stone on stone, and on a very hard stone. Yeah, these are granite blocks. It's not a soft stone. Incredible work. So yeah, temple, the royal tomb. Many skeletons were found here. Again, all thought to belong to the nobles of the Incas. All right, bye people. Let me go to the next slide. Moving on. Where are we? Okay, the main plaza. This is a very, very important structure here in Machu Picchu. If I move a couple of steps back into the plaza and I turn around, actually I won't turn around now. The plaza, the central plaza, it's a formation that divides the residential part of Machu Picchu. So all those buildings that you see there are the residential part of Machu Picchu, where the workers would have lived. And then if I span around, you will see the most sacred part of Machu Picchu. These are the main temples of Machu Picchu. Without being an expert archaeologist, you can quickly realize whether you are watching, whether you are in front of a very important building or not. All important buildings, whether they were temples or residences of priests or the Incas, they were beautifully worked on stones like these, huge blocks of stones, perfectly carved, many angles, all fitting within each other, creating these buildings without the need of mortar. There's absolutely nothing holding these rocks but the weight of the rocks themselves. Incredible perfection. You can't put a piece of paper through it. And this is impressive. Again, it's a beautiful wall and a beautiful temple, but I implore you to explore the city of Cusco, where you will find enormous blocks weighing tons that are, again, perfectly carved in many angles. It's absolutely stunning. So this is one of the most important temples. Let's take a look at this temple from above. Here we are above the temple. Now, I admire archaeologists. They are incredible people. They've done a lot of work. They found a lot of things about the Incas. They are very, very smart people, no doubt. But I can tell you one thing about them. They did not spend a lot of time naming this temple. They named this temple, hold on to it, the Temple of the Three Windows. Boom, done. My job is done. I'm done to Cusco to drink beers. So yes, the Temple of the Three Windows. Very, very important temple. This temple, in conjunction with the temple that is just behind it, the main temple, where we're very important. The Incas or the priests would have come to these temples. They would have prepared themselves. They would have ready themselves. They would have performed sacrifices on these temples before walking down to the main plaza and performing a ceremony for the rest of the population. So very, very sacred places, very important places for the Incas. Another view of this roofless temple. This temple was like this. It was not meant to have a roof. These are ceremony tables here. You see all the different chambers again found throughout the different constructions. With back in the day, they held ceramic pieces and bones and things like that. So yeah, beautiful work of masonry. So yeah, these two temples are the main temples of Machu Picchu. Let me take you to the next slide. With this, I'm getting almost to the end. This is an Intihuatana. It's a hitching post of the sun. The Incas, as I mentioned before, were incredible as astrologists. The agriculture system was based on the observation of the constellations, especially of the sun, and this rock is a testimony of this. There's a couple of very particular events that happened throughout the year on this rock. Firstly, the table around the table around the rock is got four angles, each of them pointing one to north, one to the south, east, and west with perfect very accurately. Thank you. Yes. But then this little post here on the two equinoxes, on the 21st of March and on the 21st of September, precisely at midday, the sun sits precisely above this little post, and it produces no shadow at all. It's only on those 2 days that this post produces no shadow at all, again marking the two equinoxes. Very important events on the Inca calendar year, and there would have been ceremonies carried out here in Machu Picchu and throughout the whole empire. Another very important date, and we mentioned it before in the Temple of the Sun, was the 21st of June. Yeah, the summer solstice, the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. So the Incas would have roped a golden circle around this platform, symbolizing the capture of the sun and bringing the sun closer to the earth once again. So amazing piece of work. The only way this is possible, I mean, the only way the equinoxes produce no shadow on this stone is because they are built on a 13-degree angle. So it's an incredible perfection. A bit of trivia: back in 2000, a very famous beer company was filming an ad, a TV ad for the beer on this Intihuatana, and one of the cranes fell down and it chipped one of the corners of the post. There's a huge uproar. People in Peru wanted everyone, all people in charge of Machu Picchu to go to jail. Of course, nothing happened. Someone ended up with a lot of cases of beer in the backyard. But yeah, beautiful building. Since then, it's really well protected. Look, let me take you to the last slide, really, that I have prepared to you today. It's an overview of Machu Picchu. If you haven't been to Machu Picchu yet, please make your way here. This little talk is taking 10-15 minutes tops. The real tour around Machu Picchu takes between 2.5 to 4 hours, and it's led by an expert, not like me, an expert, someone that really knows all the ins and outs of the Inca civilization. And in those 2.5 to 4 hours, you really get a very good understanding of what life would have been here in Machu Picchu at the time. I just realized that when I was talking about the platforms, I didn't talk about the agricultural meaning that the platforms had. There were between 700 to 1,000 people living permanently here in Machu Picchu, and there was a self-sustained population. They harvest and they performed agriculture on the terraces, and they would grow all the food that they needed. That didn't mean that they didn't bring food from different parts of the empire. The Incas were really good at that, at transporting food from the jungle onto the mountain regions, and from the mountain regions down to the jungle. So they ate very well, which was a great bargaining chip for the Incas as they expanded the empire. They got to different civilizations and they went, look, come here, join us. We've got all this food. We've got this amazing empire. Look at us. So a lot of smaller civilizations went, yeah, you know what? I'm sick of eating potatoes. So please bring it on. Let's join the club. Let's join the Inca club. So that was a great bargaining chip. But of course, if they said, you know what? Potatoes and corn is fine by me. Thank you very much, Incas. Of course, the army came behind, and they helped them to convince to join the Inca Empire. Gus and everyone, that is all I have prepared for you today. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Yes. Oh, Martin, that was absolutely spectacular. Before we started, I said to Martin, I have never been to South America. It's one continent I'm yet to get to because I've never stopped to learn. But that was incredible. I'm so grateful and truly inspired. And I'm sure there's so many people that are watching today, or perhaps even watching the recording over the next couple of days, that are just going to be really intrigued by the Incas and their history. And I don't doubt that the empire was, in the end, quite happy with the summer house. It seemed quite nice in the end.
Yes,
So,
yes,
not
yes.
the summer house as we now know it.
Absolutely. And look, this is what we looked at today. It's just ruins. It's an archaeological site. It's walls. It's it's dead stones in the end. But to me, one of the main highlights of Peru is that the actual Inca culture is still very much alive in Peru, and you get to see it, and you get to witness it, and you get to interact with it really as you travel through Peru, as you go through the Colca Canyon, Lake Titicaca, the Sacred Valley. It's right there. People are still living like they did back in the Inca state. They're still working the land the same way they did back in the Inca state. So it's still there. We can still witness it. We can still see that impressive empire. Yeah.
I can't officially say I've been, but I can officially say I am inspired to go. So thank you so very much.
Thank you, Cass, and thank you again, everyone, for joining us and being here with us. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I enthused you to go there, and I hope to see you traveling to that beautiful part of the world soon.